What's up everyone, I'm Logan at the 89 Auto Works, and today I am finally getting some time, not getting time, I'm making time to try to get some stuff done on my car. As far as the front end damage goes, it did take a hit to the front end at one point, and of course support's all been removed and everything. I have new JDM, not new, it's used, it's off a JDM car. I already cut it all up, so drilled everything out so we could pop it all apart. It was just the frame horns cut off with the core support on it, and yep, can't really do much with that. So go through today, take off some of this core support parts, get everything all prepped up, straightened back out perfectly, and more or less just go through and put the front end of this car together. This chassis is a very unique car because it is a really truly rust-free chassis. There's no rust really anywhere. The underside, obviously there's some surface rust on stuff, but there's no actual like rot, and that was the whole reason I bought it. Obviously hard to find these GD chassis cars and being in this clean of condition. Basically gonna go through and start working on cleaning up some of these parts up here so I can, I guess, start putting parts back on this thing and hopefully get a core support on it today so I can hang some fenders and a hood and all my parts on it. I have everything to finish this chassis up and make everything proper again, and I want to do that. So this is gonna be a whole build series in this car. This is my car, this is my pride and joy here. This is everything for me. So this is something we're going to take a lot of time on to do it right. I've done this exact job actually on other cars in the past, and it turned out very good. But I mean, for me, it's like talking about the difference of an 1/8 inch, being off one way or the other, and most people would never notice an 1/8 inch ever, but drives me nuts. So I'm actually going to be taking a lot of time to get everything perfectly straight, get all this stuff perfectly cut out, and basically go through and just get it all taken apart so we can get everything exactly where it needs to be and start putting this thing back together. Down the line, we're going to go, and there's going to be a lot of stuff done to this car. I really had big plans of being able to shave the engine bay on this thing this year. I don't think it's going to be able to happen if I have any dreams of getting this car on the road. We still have Jake's build we're working on, and that's where most of my time's going, and that's why I just decided, hey, we're going to take a day to just wrap some stuff up, get this thing to a point where I can put a hood and stuff on it, just because I am sick of, there's no cowl on this thing either, so all the water doesn't really have anywhere to stop. So kind of just want to get this thing wrapped up so if it's sitting out there for a while, it's at least not getting ruined. Backstory, I bought this car. He had literally had this car sitting in his driveway for 9 years, and I know you think 9 years, no way. Long story short, the only reason he was getting rid of it is because the city was making him get it out of his driveway. And he had this car and another really awesome 04 WRX that had a super awesome cage in it and everything, and that car was, all the parts off this car ended up going on that car, and that's why this car is all taken apart, no motor, transmission. When I got this, there was no front end or anything on it, and this is all stuff I put on it. Now it's got my coilovers and wheels, and that stuff is really all it has, and I guess my interior is in it now, doors and wing, and it's got my parts on it. Was pretty much, very much so, a bare shell when I got it. So it's definitely come a ways since I've got it already, and now it's time to start making some content on this thing, because that's what this is. This is going to be the car that is hopefully going to shows with me and getting me business and doing that thing. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and work on drilling this stuff out. I'm not going to like step by step this thing, because I mean I would have so much time in that, it'd be unbelievable. But I'm going to go ahead and basically start by dropping the U-frame. U-frame will come off, and then I'll go ahead and pull the wiring harness off of the where we're working, and basically just start going through and drilling out all the spot welds and pulling all the parts off until we get the straight stuff. I'm thinking that I should be able to leave these horns alone and just replace the lower core support and this upper piece here, but we're going to find out shortly here. So I'm going to get cracking on that, and I'll check in when something cool happens here. Alright guys, well, I wasn't gonna, get carried away with this one, but here we are getting carried away with this one. The dream was always to have a shaved and tucked engine bay in this car, and we just got to a point where we're getting pretty late in the season, rolling into spring now. I still have Jake's whole project to get wrapped up on his car and several others. We're wrapping up the front of this thing, and I got the lower portion of the core support all welded out and everything, and it's just pretty rough on there right now. It still gets some sanding and primer and all that stuff, but we ended up starting to shave the engine bay yesterday, and kind of got carried away on that. I will say this is the first engine bay I've actually ever shaved, so I kind of just wanted to get it figured out before I ended up making a video on it. So we got that side shaved, or I should say the front portion of the engine bay shaved there yesterday. I still have a bunch of sanding to do over there, and obviously body filler and full 9 yards. But same thing we're going to do over here. Exact same template and everything I'm using on that side I'll end up using over here. I went ahead and pulled all the brake lines out of the engine bay. We're going to do an ABS delete on this car and get rid of the brake booster and all that stuff. It's going to be full manual brake setup, and I'm thinking I'm probably going to go with Chase Bay's dual piston 6-to-1 master cylinder. Kind of on the fence about that, but we're going to going forward, we'll be figuring that stuff out. Got that side wrapped up. I'm going to start working on this side. Eventually here I'm going to have Isaac end up pulling the dash on this car, and we'll end up pulling all the wires back through the dash and getting everything inside the car, and then we'll actually do a full wire tuck on this thing where you won't see any wires other than the main harness going to the engine coming through the firewall or floating around in the engine bay. I'm up in the air about tucking the fuse box or not. Still kind of one of those things that I know a lot of people do it, and you can do it properly, so it never gives you an issue. I just also know that most people end up having an issue down the line with wiring, and then it becomes a nightmare. So kind of want to work around that and more or less figure out the proper way I want to do that. So anyways, I'm going to keep pushing forward, and I'll show you guys some of the steps along the way. Alright guys, so we have a rough template cut out here. This is just 20 gauge sheet metal. Basically we're just trying to look at fitment here. Basically when I did the other side, I went straight from this line. And went up and over. So basically we're just trying to line up here and get an idea of where we need to trim and cut to be able to get this thing to fit right. All right guys, so we got this one kind of roughed in here. It's just chilling. The next step here is, obviously it's not a perfect fit, but once you start getting this thing hot, it's a lot easier to manipulate the tiny little bends and stuff to make it look nice and pretty. This is mandatory equipment here. This is weld through primer. So want to make sure everything's coated in this prior to welding. The stuff is like 30 something bucks a can. It's very expensive, but if you have any interest in having your car not be a rusty piece of shit, this is the sauce right here. So everything behind it will get a coating of the weld through primer. Spray everything, give it 5 minutes, spray it again, then you let it sit for 20 minutes and it gases, and then you can actually weld right over the top of that. And this is just to make sure your stuff does not rust out sooner than it should. All right, homies, we got this plate clamped on here. I only have the top really clamped on, and you can see just because of the way that the angle works here, we're gonna go ahead and put a nice tack in here, which is what this tool is for, clamping body parts together. So we'll put a nice tack in there so it stays, and just work our way all the way down, and basically just tack, 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 and then we'll work on pushing everything nice and down. But we want to make sure our seam up here is flawless. because you just don't want to have this coming off. You know,
that's ISO. Rack it up, I got a bit of the bank to make me a safe house. Shake it up, she got her hands on her knees and she bringing the cake out. Smoke it up, I got some gas, some packs, I'm up in the greenhouse. Ball it up, I'm with the gang, we taking shots off the rebound. Fucking my posters, say now, I've been humble too long, yeah. Tell them all to stay calm, yeah. Tell them all to move on, yeah. Fucking my posters, say now, they be lost in the sauce, yeah. Took a loss, that's your loss, yeah. Had to get my point across, yeah. Heard them lasers talking now and we don't pay that no mind. Didn't need to watch and know that I'll be here in no time. Put a candle on it, had to tell them they could blow mine. Lights, camera, action, ayy, shows. I'm smoking that dope from Edmond. We the new meth in Redmond. We ain't real blood, but we brethren. Run up a check and it's pending. She talking my news, we'll send them. Fuck with the fam, you a dead man. Jesus peace on my pendant. And we still independent. ISO, yeah, we trending. Watch what you say, don't offend them. They keepin' it real, they commend them. People like get your wife pregnant, but I ain't tryna be dependent. I need money never ending. I'm talking 100%. I need the only you rent it. Whoa, step in the spotty and watch how they panic. Yeah, we the duo, you know we dynamic. When we outside, we be stopping the traffic. Breaking their necks, them they upset. How them boys doing more when they got less? How they on this and how they on that? How they got this and how they got that? Too busy watching us, they need to stop that. Talking my shit, you know we gon' pop that. See it, I like it, yeah, I'm gon' cop that. When we on top, how you gon' top that? Nah, you ain't got nothing on us. I'm steady calling your bluff. Pass me the split, need me a puff. You don't want smoke, tell them that's tough, yeah. Heard them lasers talking now and we don't pay that no mind. Didn't need to watch them, know that I'll be here in no time. Put a candle on it, had to tell them they could blow mine. Lights, camera, action, ayy, it shows. Rack it up, I got a bit of the bank to make me a safe house. Shake it up, she got her hands on her knees and she bringing the cake out. Smoke it up, I got some gas, some packs, I'm up in the greenhouse. Ball it up, I'm with the gang, we taking shots off the rebound. Fucking my posters, say now, I've been humble too long, yeah. Tell them all to stay calm, yeah. Tell them all to move on, yeah. Fucking my posters, say now, they be lost in the sauce, yeah. Took a loss, that's your loss, yeah. Had to get my point across, yeah.
Alright guys, so I'm going to cut this video off here. We still got a ton to do on this car. I honestly just don't have the time. This is way longer than this car should have been in here for now, honestly. And I got some stuff done on it. As you guys can see, both side plates are shaved. We have the engine bay stripped at this point, and basically just going forward, we are going to continue to, I'm going to have Isaac pull the dash on this thing one of these days, and then we will shove all the wires through, seal up all the holes in the back, and then we'll actually plate everything off in the back so it's nice and straight and even. I'm going to look into seeing if I can somehow do custom lines on my air conditioning so that it is not just, you know, the lines that are there. Mainly, I don't really care about the one hard line that comes up here to the condenser. Mainly the one that I don't like is the big giant rubber hose that comes all the way around and goes on top of the air conditioning compressor. I'm not a fan. If I could somehow figure out a way to make that like an AN line, that'd be sweet. So, kind of just gonna wrap it up here. I spent too much time today out looking, and I had to go buy a new welder. We were using Isaac's MIG welder, and it's a fine welder. It's just for what we were doing, it's not a fine welder. Okay, I did test fit the actual core support. That fits and everything's cool there. I'll put a picture in with that all on. I'm leaving it off though, just purely because if I'm shaving the rest of this engine bay, basically my thing is like I'm not trying to be like hopping over a core support every 3 minutes and shit. So I got the lower portion all on and everything. So anyways guys, this is the end of it, and stay tuned for the next one we got coming up here. Isaac's car, for those that are wondering, the Legacy GT, the STI swapped Legacy GT, that car, we are waiting for a right side intake cam, the AVCS cam. We were having an issue with the AVCS not advancing properly on that side. We replaced the solenoids for the AVCS solenoids, and it made it a lot better, but that cam is still giving us problems, so we're going to replace that cam, and then from there it literally should be ready to go take it to Dave's. One more thing that's going to be changing on that car is we are going to just go ahead and put an external wastegate on it. Long story short, anyone that knows the eBay Turbo's biggest downfall is most definitely the wastegates are just, you get boost creep real bad. I mean, Dave was targeting wastegate boost pressure, which should have been like 14 pounds, and he ended up like peaking at like 19 pounds. So, you know, that's not cool. Not going to cut it. So we're going to put an external wastegate on there. I have a Turbo Smart Comp Gate 40 that we're going to put on there. Anyways, so yeah, guys, like and subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for the next one. We'll be doing a lot more stuff here. Kind of getting using today to get the shop back to functional and get my car the hell out of here and start getting some stuff that's going to make some money back in here and more content for you guys. All right, thanks, guys.